Thutmose III, the Napoleon of far antiquity from 1500 BC. Thutmose III, or Thutmose, mightiest conqueror and administrator of far antiquity, was the son of Thutmose I and a slave woman named Isis, or Osnut. In spite of this handicap of birth, he forged ahead of those nobler born and won supreme power not only in Egypt, but in the then-known world. Thutmose began his career as an ordinary priest in the temple of Amun at Thebes. His early bid for power failed in the long contest for the throne with Hatshepsut, his sister, for whom he proved no match. But upon her death, he emerged from the background to inaugurate a reign even more dazzling than hers. On ascending the throne, he continued the conquests begun by his mighty ancestor, Ahmes, who had ousted the Hyksos, or shepherd kings. Leading the way at the head of his army, mighty like a flame of fire, Thutmose III brought back to Egypt the kings of other nations to grace his triumphs, and such wealth of golden thrones, royal chariots, gold, jewels, gold and silver vessels, and cattle as had never fallen to Egypt before. It is on record that in his 70th year, the envoys from Nubia of the Negroes brought him a tribute of 1,570 pounds of gold from Waiwat alone. Utterly fearless, he once attacked an elephant in battle single-handed. The beast was about to seize him when his general, Amenemhab, struck off its trunk with a blow of his sword and saved his life. Unlike most conquerors of antiquity, Thutmose, it seems, was merciful and spared the conquered instead of putting the old and the decrepit to the sword. Says Breasted, his character stands forth with more color and individuality than that of any other king of early Egypt, save Akhenaten. We see the man of tireless energy unknown in any pharaoh before or since, the man of versatility designing exquisite vases in a moment of leisure, the lynx-eyed administrator who launched his armies upon Asia with one hand and with the other crushed the extortionate tax-gatherer. While he was proud to leave a record of his unparalleled achievements, Thutmose protests more than once his deep respect for the truth in so doing. His reign marks an epoch not only in Egypt, but in the whole East as we know it in his age. Never before in history had a single brain wielded the resources of so great a nation and wrought them into such centralized permanence and at the same time mobile efficiency, that for years they could be brought to bear with incessant impact as a skilled artisan manipulates a Rutan forge hammer. Although the figure is inadequate unless we remember that Thutmose forged his own hammer. The genius which rose from an obscure priestly office to accomplish this for the first time in history reminds us of an Alexander or a Napoleon. He built the first real empire, and is thus the first character possessed of universal aspects, the first world hero. From the fastnesses of Asia Minor, the marshes of the upper Euphrates, the islands of the sea, the swamps of Babylonia, the distant shores of Libya, the oases of the Sahara, the terraces of the Somali coast, and the upper cataracts of the Nile, the princes of his time rendered tribute to his greatness. He thus made not only a worldwide impression upon his age, but an impression of a new order. His commanding figure, towering like an embodiment of righteous penalty among the trivial plots of the petty Syrian dynasts, must have clarified the atmosphere of Oriental politics as a strong wind drives away miasmic vapors. The inevitable chastisement of his strong arm was held in awed remembrance by the men of Naharan for 3 generations. His name was one to conjure with for centuries after his empire had crumbled to pieces. It was placed on amulets as a word of power. Thutmose died at the age of 82. He built many temples. One of his obelisks was taken to Central Park, New York City. Another was set up on the Thames Embankment in London.